The grand ballroom shimmered beneath golden chandeliers, filled with laughter, expensive suits, and polished smiles. Everything looked perfect until the heavy wooden doors suddenly swung open. A tired man wearing dusty work boots, faded jeans, and a tool belt stepped inside carrying a little girl whose frightened eyes searched the room for safety. Every conversation stopped. Hundreds of guests stared in disbelief as the rugged stranger accidentally became the center of the most prestigious charity gala in the city. Then something unexpected happened. The elegant CEO standing nearby quietly walked toward him, gently took the little girl into her arms, and everyone assumed they were a family. She heard the whispers. She knew they were wrong. But for one unforgettable afternoon, she chose not to correct them. Before we continue, if you believe kindness, compassion, and second chances can change someone's life, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to Spread Love Daily. Your support helps us bring more heartwarming stories to people around the world. The man was named Rowan Mercer, a 36-year-old widowed father who worked as an independent maintenance contractor. 3 years earlier, his wife had lost her battle with a sudden illness, leaving him to raise their 5-year-old daughter, Ivy, alone. Since that heartbreaking day, Rowan had sacrificed everything for his little girl. He worked long hours repairing homes, schools, and office buildings while trying to be both father and mother. Every dollar mattered. Every hour counted. His hands were rough from years of labor, but his heart remained gentle, especially whenever Ivy smiled. That particular morning had started like any other. Rowan had been called to repair a water pipe inside the luxurious Ashcroft Grand Hotel, where the city's annual Children's Future Foundation Gala was taking place. He expected a simple maintenance job that would last less than an hour. Instead, a burst pipe flooded part of the building, forcing him to stay much longer than planned. With no babysitter available and school unexpectedly closed for teacher training, Ivy had spent the day quietly sitting nearby, coloring in her sketchbook while her father worked. When the emergency repair was finally completed, hotel staff accidentally directed Rowan through the main ballroom instead of the service hallway. Before anyone realized the mistake, father and daughter had walked directly into the glamorous event attended by business leaders, celebrities, philanthropists, and journalists. Among the guests stood Celeste Vaughn, the brilliant CEO of Vaughn Horizons, one of the country's fastest-growing technology companies. Despite her remarkable success, Celeste carried invisible scars. She had built an empire through relentless determination after growing up in foster care, never knowing the warmth of a permanent family. Awards, wealth, and admiration filled her professional life, but every evening she returned to a silent apartment that reminded her success could never replace love. As photographers prepared for another group picture, Ivy suddenly became overwhelmed by the unfamiliar crowd. The bright lights, loud music, and hundreds of strangers frightened her. She buried her face against Rowan's shoulder, trembling softly. Celeste noticed the little girl's fear immediately. Without hesitation, she walked across the ballroom, knelt beside Ivy, and offered her a reassuring smile that felt genuine rather than polite. Something remarkable happened. Ivy slowly reached toward Celeste's hand. It was a simple gesture, but it touched everyone watching. People naturally assumed Rowan and Celeste were husband and wife attending the charity event together. They saw the exhausted father, the comforting woman, and the frightened child. Their minds completed the story before asking a single question. Someone warmly complimented them on their beautiful family. Celeste opened her mouth to explain the misunderstanding, but she looked into Ivy's hopeful eyes and saw something she recognized from her own childhood, a desperate longing to feel safe. For just a little while, correcting strangers no longer seemed important. Throughout the afternoon, photographers unknowingly captured images of what appeared to be the perfect family. Rowan felt embarrassed by his dusty clothes among expensive tuxedos, yet Celeste treated him with complete respect. She introduced him to guests not as a maintenance worker but simply as Rowan, a hardworking father. It was the first time in years that people looked beyond his worn boots and tired face. As the event continued, Celeste listened while Rowan spoke about balancing work with raising Ivy alone. He never complained. Instead, he spoke proudly about bedtime stories, school projects, homemade pancakes on Saturdays, and teaching Ivy to believe that kindness mattered more than money. His quiet strength moved her deeply. Rowan, in return, learned that beneath Celeste's confident leadership was a lonely woman who secretly envied ordinary families enjoying simple dinners together. She admitted she had spent years building companies while forgetting how to build meaningful relationships. Neither expected the conversation to matter beyond that day. But life had different plans. A week later, Rowan received an unexpected phone call. The hotel management had recommended him for a permanent facilities position at Von Horizons. The salary was nearly double his current income, with healthcare, flexible hours, and educational support for Ivy. He almost couldn't believe it. When he arrived for the interview, he discovered Celeste herself had requested that he apply. She hadn't offered charity. She had simply recognized honesty, dedication, and character. Rowan earned the position through his own abilities, impressing everyone with his practical knowledge and calm professionalism. Soon he became one of the company's most respected employees. He greeted everyone with humility, from executives to cleaning staff, reminding people that dignity came from character rather than job titles. Meanwhile, Ivy occasionally visited the office after school. She quickly became everyone's favorite little visitor, filling quiet hallways with laughter. Celeste found herself looking forward to those afternoons more than any business meeting. She watched Rowan patiently helping Ivy with homework while finishing maintenance reports. She admired how he always placed fatherhood before everything else. It reminded her that real success wasn't measured by profits or headlines but by the people waiting for you at home. Months passed. Friendship slowly replaced awkwardness. Weekend charity projects became shared traditions. Together they renovated playgrounds, organized food drives, and repaired community centers. The newspapers frequently photographed them working side by side, still assuming they were a couple. This time, neither of them rushed to deny it. Not because they wished to deceive anyone, but because somewhere along the journey, pretending had quietly become unnecessary. One rainy evening, while delivering donated school supplies to a local shelter, Celeste noticed a young boy sitting alone near the entrance. His expression mirrored the loneliness she remembered from her own childhood. Without hesitation, Rowan sat beside the boy, sharing his umbrella until volunteers arrived. Celeste realized then that kindness wasn't something Rowan performed. It was simply who he was. That moment changed everything. For the first time in many years, Celeste allowed herself to imagine a future built not around board meetings or financial reports, but around breakfast conversations, birthday celebrations, bedtime stories, and family photographs that reflected genuine happiness. She finally understood why she hadn't corrected those strangers at the gala. Deep inside, she had recognized the family she had always dreamed of finding. A year after their unforgettable first meeting, the Children's Future Foundation hosted another charity gala at the same hotel. This time, Rowan arrived wearing a tailored navy suit instead of dusty work clothes. Ivy wore a beautiful light blue dress that sparkled every time she smiled. Celeste walked beside them, elegant as always, but her greatest accessory wasn't her designer gown. It was the peaceful happiness shining in her eyes. As they entered the ballroom together, many guests recognized them immediately. One elderly volunteer smiled warmly and said she was delighted to see the lovely family again. This time, Celeste didn't stay silent because of compassion. She simply smiled. Because now, the assumption was finally true. The applause that evening wasn't for billion-dollar donations or impressive speeches. It was for the announcement that Von Horizons would fund scholarships for thousands of children from struggling single-parent households, inspired by one hardworking father who had unknowingly walked into the wrong room on an ordinary afternoon. Sometimes the greatest opportunities don't arrive dressed in perfection. Sometimes they wear dusty boots, carry tired hearts, and hold the tiny hand of a child who simply needs someone to believe in tomorrow. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, share it with your family and friends, leave a comment telling us where you're watching from, and subscribe to Spread Love Daily. Your support helps us continue sharing stories that remind the world kindness still exists. Rose's special request: before this story ends, comment with the words, "Kindness always finds its way." Let that message inspire someone else who may be losing hope today. As the ballroom lights reflected across the polished floor, Rowan looked at Ivy laughing beside Celeste and realized that life sometimes writes the most beautiful chapters after the pages filled with heartbreak. The wrong doorway had led him to the right future. A misunderstanding had become a miracle. And three lonely hearts, brought together by pure compassion in the middle of an ordinary day, finally found the family they never expected, but always needed. The end.